What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome to Fresh Comic Stories. Guys, this is the channel where we basically sit down and cover different kinds of comic book stories. Now, guys, today we're going to jump back over to Ultimate Marvel to continue our coverage over the Ultimate Marvel universe. Now, guys, remember, we are doing the complete Ultimate Marvel reading order, meaning that we're going to jump back and forth between Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, the Ultimates, and any other miniseries out there from the Ultimate Marvel line. Now, today, we're going to pick up with Ultimate X-Men Date Night, and this is only a 3-part storyline. But the thing is, guys, in this storyline right here, a couple things do happen. Even though this story does suck, 3 things in this story really do matter, and you're going to see down the road as we're covering this story what those 3 things are. So guys, please hit that like button for me and also subscribe for more comic book stories in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, this is Ultimate X-Men Date Night. Now, the story does open up with everyone kind of getting ready to go out for the night. Hence the reason why the story is called Date Night. Because you have Charles Xavier getting ready to go out on a date with a lady who we have not seen just yet. You also have Jean Grey and Cyclops going out on a date, Wolverine and Storm going out on a date, and Kitty Pryde has a date with Spider-Man. Remember, at this point in Ultimate Marvel, Kitty Pryde is dating Spider-Man, and so that's her excuse to leave the X-Mansion. Now you have Nightcrawler and Colossus also going out to check up on Dazzler, because at this point she's in a coma in a hospital. And so with everyone going out to do something, that leaves Iceman and also Rogue at the mansion by themselves. Which is going to be a little weird because these two used to date, but Rogue left the X-Men and Iceman when she met Gambit. But with the event of X-Men Annual #1, which basically we saw the death of Gambit, Rogue went back to the X-Men. Now, also to remind you guys is that Rogue had completely absorbed the powers of Gambit before he had died. Now, the story does jump over real quick to a guy in a mansion that is empty. Now, this is a 1-page setting that we get from Marvel, but it's just showing us that this one random guy is confused on how in the world did he end up in a mansion that is completely empty. And matter of fact, guys, that is it for him in the first chapter. Because we do jump back over to Professor Xavier, and we pick up with him on his date. Now, this date is not really a date. It is more of Charles Xavier trying to secure funding for his school. Guys, remember, back in the early videos of Ultimate X-Men, we found out that the Hellfire Club was funding Xavier's school to get the Phoenix. But after that, S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of picked up the bill, but since Nick Fury and Charles Xavier are not in good terms, he needs someone to fund the school, and so he can keep the doors open. But he does meet up with a young lady for dinner, and after a few pages of her trying to dodge the question, who is she, and who is she working for, you have her finally tell Charles Xavier who she is, and says her name is Lilandra. And this is huge because this is the first appearance for this character in the Ultimate Marvel universe. And she also states she belongs to a church called the Shire Empire. So, quick rundown on Lilandra in the main Marvel universe. We have a couple stories on her already from our X-Men reading order videos, but she is a Shire, which is an alien race that kind of governs a bunch of different planets, which these planets, of course, fill with a bunch of different alien races. But all of these planets make up the Shire Empire. But with her being part of the royal family in the Shire race, and after her siblings failed to hold on the throne, she became the leader of the Shire Empire. Now, one of the stories we are about to cover is Dark Phoenix, where she will play a huge role in that story down the road. But the big difference between the two universes is that she is not an alien. Instead, she is a human in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. Now we do jump over to Bobby and Rogue. Now the reason why we are covering this part of the story is because of Rogue, but how her powers work now in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. So with her absorbing the powers of Gambit completely, it kind of canceled her original powers, which if she ever made any kind of skin-to-skin contact, well, she would absorb their powers and their memories as well. But since she held on to Gambit so long, and with him being dead, her only powers seem to be his and not her usual powers, which works out for her because now she is able to kiss, hold hands, and do other loving stuff with Iceman. Now we do jump back over to Wolverine and Storm having their strange date night by going around playing pool in a bunch of biker bars, but also they do get into a few bar fights along the way. But the biggest thing about this part of the story as we close the first chapter is when Storm and Wolverine leave the bar, because we see the return of Ultimate Sabretooth for the first time in a very, very long time. Now we do jump back over to the strange guy we saw earlier who was freaking out because he does not know how he ended up in an abandoned mansion. Now this time, except getting just a one-page setting, we get a couple pages of him this time. But this time he starts to walk around the mansion to see if he is able to find something that can give him a clue on what is going on here in this mansion. But when he enters one room, he finds the bodies of his own parents. And so now he is freaking out because he has no idea who killed them and how all three of them got inside this mansion. But before he is able to try to figure that out, that is when you have some police officers break in through the door and try to arrest the strange character because all they see is him over a couple dead bodies. But when they try to arrest him, he somehow teleports outside the mansion away from the police. But after a brief moment of being able to get away from the police, that is when you have Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. arrive to arrest him. Now we do jump back over to Wolverine and Storm being confronted by Sabretooth. Now this is huge because when we last saw Sabretooth, he was back in Ultimate X-Men Volume 6, where he joined Magneto's side. But in that storyline right there, Wolverine had cut the head off of Sabretooth, hoping it would kill him off. But you have Sabretooth said that there were a few strings that kept his head and his body together to let him heal from that. But the reason why he came back to Wolverine is to have a talk, saying that he needs to sit down and talk to Wolverine about a dark secret. But of course, Wolverine does not believe anything Sabretooth is saying, and so he does begin to fight against Sabretooth. Now, this fight does not last that long, only because you have Marvel trying to get to the point of this moment. And you have Sabretooth reveal the big secret, saying that he is the son of Wolverine. Then jump over to Lilandra and Charles Xavier having dinner still. Now Charles Xavier is playing this dinner date safe because the last two people who invested in his school had left them. And so you have the final chapter used as a way to explain the origin of the Phoenix in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. You had Lilandra tell Charles Xavier that the Phoenix was an entity that would travel across the universe trying to make changes in the universe but for the betterment. Now you had Lilandra say that the Phoenix could have been the thing that brought life into the universe, but the problem is that the Phoenix was captured by the beings she created because they wanted to use her for their own wishes. But since they could not control the Phoenix, they locked her in a cage that can hold her. And over time, different asteroids came together and Earth was built around the cage, meaning that the Phoenix is locked inside the Earth core right now. But Lilandra and the Church of Xavier want to bring the Phoenix back into the universe. They know that to bring the Phoenix back into the world, they have to study Jean Grey to figure out how she is the key to do just that. Now you have Charles Xavier say that he will ask Jean if she's okay to be tested on and study to see how she can be used to bring back the Phoenix, but also with her being studied by Lilandra. The Shire Church will be the new people who will fund Charles Xavier's school. Now we do jump back over to our mysterious character who is right now in a standoff with Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. We come to find out that his name is Elliot Boggs, and S.H.I.E.L.D. was able to pick up on him quickly because he is a mutant and his powers just manifest. His powers does seem to be reality warping in some sorts, because while he is fighting against S.H.I.E.L.D., he is making the ground explode and turning S.H.I.E.L.D. agents' guns into snakes. He is doing some small reality warping at the moment, but after a few pages of S.H.I.E.L.D. fighting against him, Nick Fury was able to knock him out. Now the story does wind down a little bit because you have everyone come back home from their adventures being out. Professor is going to talk to Jean Grey to see if she's okay to being tested on to see how she is the key to bring the Phoenix back into the world. But when the X-Men arrive back home, they are greeted by Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. They brought Elliot over because, well, he is a mutant who needs training on how to control his powers. And so Nick Fury just basically drops him off there and leaves the X-Men to handle their newest member, and he went back home like it's no big deal. Now, guys, when it comes to Elliot, he will only appear in the next couple stories, and that's it. Honestly, they made this character up for 3 stories, and he leaves just like that. Now to close off the final chapter of this story, we do pick up with Sabretooth once again, but after fighting against Wolverine and Storm, and then revealing that he is the son of Wolverine. We see Sabretooth meeting up with Dr. Cornelius, who we thought died back in the storyline where we first saw Lady Deathstrike. But we come to find out that he is alive, and he was the one who sent Sabretooth after Wolverine, so that Sabretooth could get a piece of his body, because now they're going to try to clone Wolverine. And guys, this is the end of this storyline. And so guys, if you did like today's video, please leave me a like down below, and also subscribe for more comic book videos in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see you on the next comic book video. Later, guys.